Hi, everybody. Happy Friday afternoon, December the 4th. Hope you all are doing fantastic today. Hope you have had a great week and are prepping to have a great weekend. Before I forget, I just want to announce that Bandcamp, bandcamp.com, it's a fantastic website to check out music on. A lot of independent music is on there. Anyways, they're doing something called Bandcamp Fridays, which means that they give the artist 100% of the sales from all purchases today. So if you want to check out some new music and support some artists, that is definitely the platform to do it on. So yeah, I don't know. Good way to check out some independent artists. We all need support, and we definitely need it as independent artists. Let's see here. I guess we can get right into today's lesson, today's topic. Let's see here. Which is going to be harmony or chords moving in stepwise motion, whole step and half step. I imagine some of you probably guessed that was coming. We started off moving in fifths, so here's a progression in fifths. And on and on and on. And then we move to major third progressions. And then progressions by minor thirds. And so now it is time to look at progressions by seconds. So in the key of C, we got C, E, G. So we're just gonna move this triad, this C major triad, up to D major triad. And let's keep going up to E major triad, to F major, or excuse me, F sharp major, and then to G sharp major, A sharp major, back to C major. We divide our 12 tones within the octave. We can, so moving in a stepwise motion, we are now going to have 6 chords per octave. Some people call that a whole tone scale. Let's see here. And then we can also just do it in half step motion instead of whole steps. We can do it in half steps. So from C to C sharp to D sharp to E to F sharp to G sharp to A to B flat, A sharp to B, and here we are back at C. So there's 12 steps that we go through before we get back to C, whereas if we're going in whole step progression, there's 6 steps. And then back at C. So these are using chord progressions that have these chords in them are maybe a little bit special attention needs to be paid to them, because between this chord C and D, we have no common tones. We do have common tones between a C major scale and a D major scale, but right now we're just dealing with triads. So the commonality here is 0 for 3. We have 3 potential common tones and we got 0. So, I mean, you've heard this before as a vamp, or sometimes people play it minor as a vamp. Just like a repeating pattern, and that's totally fine. That's part of because there's no common tones here. there's not a lot of options to move around in, so they are maybe a little bit more I don't know, maybe a little bit more constrictive. Going back to the major one, sometimes you can do something like this, which sounds cool. I mean, it sounds very triumphant, right? That makes me think of like Super Mario Brothers, like catching the flag at the end of the level or whatever. Something like that. But you know, that is a totally valid progression. Another common one going the opposite direction would be to start off with C minor and then go down to B flat major and A flat major, and then we're going to go just a half step here to G major. I'm sure you've probably heard that in many songs before as well. Those are, I don't know, very common progressions. Another one that's kind of cool is you got your C major right here, C, E, G, and you're going to keep the E common, and you're going to raise the C and the G to C sharp and G sharp. So with that E as a common tone, that gives you more flexibility. That's a little bit looser. It's more malleable. You can work with it a little bit more. So that's kind of a cool one, as opposed to just C major to D flat major, which is totally fine, but very pronounced difference from this chord to this chord because there's no common tones. So let's see here. So like switching between major and minor is definitely going to open up your progressions when they come in half steps and whole steps. Like that one walk down that I was just displaying. Starts off in minor, then it goes to major, stays in major, and stays in major, and then it goes back to minor. Oh, geez. I'm not too good at piano. That's another cool thing that I was just thinking about. So because the motion here, it's like kind of blocky, and that you're taking the same shape. Something that kind of is fun to do, and it will it's opened up my ears and ideas, is let's say we're going to go up in major seconds, up in whole steps, same thing, with major chords. So like at the very beginning of the lesson, we got C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and C, right? We're now back into C, our home key. How about if we do that same progression going up in whole tones, but we're going to voice it moving down the keyboard. So here's C major, here's D major, here's E major, to F sharp major, to G sharp major, to A sharp major, A sharp major, to C major. That's kind of a cool little device to go in opposite directions, to go up in whole steps and then go down the keyboard. And obviously you can do this the exact opposite, go down in whole steps and up the keyboard, which sounds like this: C major, A sharp major, G sharp major, F sharp major, E major, D major, C major. That can add some interest, especially if you add a bass note. Let me do that right quick. What was I doing here? Right. So I mean that you know, there's a place for that. You could use it as like a little ending or something to a song. but that is having what is it, man, all those theory classes, and I can't remember the terminology, but moving in the opposite direction, and just kind of like trying to find cool movement patterns within the chord progression is really going to help out a lot. And I think I'll be talking about that next Friday, kind of a little bit like voicings, like instead of C, D, E major, maybe voice it C, D, E major, just to give it some different flavor, or C, D, E major, whatever it may be. C, D, E major. Oh, excuse me. Let's try that again. C, D, E major. That's kind of jumpy, but still, you get the idea. It's all about just trying things and exploring them. You may not need a specific reason to try something out other than just to get more familiar with it. When I was thinking about kind of the lesson this week, years ago, a friend of mine was telling me that sometimes he would just take a piece of paper and write down random chord changes, just completely random chord changes, and then he would work it out on the piano and be like, okay, how do I get from this C major chord to this B flat minor chord to this E major chord to this F major chord to this D flat major chord to this D minor chord to this C sharp minor chord, and just take the musical element out of it, just 100% random, and then bring the musicality into it and be like, how can I make this work? And sometimes it will work and sometimes it won't work, but the fact that you're getting your ears and brain to kind of figure out what resonates with you is going to put you on your way to creating the kind of music that is within you. It's going to help you find your notes. And then last one. There was a quote from Pat Metheny where he said something along the lines of spend half of your time practicing stuff to get better and spend half of your time practicing stuff to just explore. I'm sure I butchered that quote, but the idea, or what I take away from it, is you definitely need to do the work that you need to do to get better, but you need to balance that with playing and just having fun and exploring and approaching the sound like you are hearing it for the first time. And I think that's a really healthy attitude to have, because it keeps you both grounded in the tradition and it helps you explore and find your own voice. So I hope that was helpful. I would love to see you all next Friday, same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. And we can talk a little bit more about finding some cool voicings for how to put these progressions together. We got our seconds, or we got our movement by minor thirds, by major thirds. Oh boy. And by fifths. Cool. So I hope you all have a great week, and I hope to see you